So today we're going to do our second part of Let's Not Die in the Woods. This is going to be a pretty fun little series for me, just going over some of the basic skills or things that are necessary. Obviously, we started off on part one being temporary shelter, some kind of, knot tying techniques, and, building a fire. I did not start this fire with a striker this time. I went ahead and made a little bit of tinder and used one of my lighters in my bag. And I carry those because, by all means, I do not want to have to start a fire with a striker all the time. So, we got this little fire going here. And I think the next best thing to talk about is going to be navigation or movement through the area, if this is what this scenario is for you. So, going off of that, this is my everyday carry bag. This is the bag that's in my vehicle every day. And the things in this bag are for giving me temporary shelter, fire, ways to move through, small snacks, things like that. So, I have multiple methods of navigation in this bag. That being a map of my area and GPS, compass, kind of stuff like that. So I think what we should give a short little talk about is do you know how to get home? Do you know how to get home from where you work or where you currently are to your house if you had to walk that distance? I have a pretty large drive to work every day, so I have a long distance to walk. It would be multiple days of walking to get back home. So that's kind of why I put myself in the scenario that I put myself in with the bags that I have. And the main thing is you don't have to have some fancy GPS. They make lots of GPS. I mean, that could be your phone. That could be all kinds of things nowadays. But I carry a Garmin that is quite an old model. It's a Rhino 655T. I've used this for years when I was backpacking and going through other, hiking things. So this has pretty much all the maps of the U.S. downloaded into it, so it's really good for that kind of navigation. I wouldn't want to use this, but I do also have extra batteries, and it's not a rechargeable battery pack. It is a AA replaceable battery pack, which is, I think, more ideal because they actually started off being just a rechargeable with some sort of really dumb proprietary charging plug that was just garbage. It was not good, but finally they came out with just a battery replaceable version, which is really nice. So always look at having some sort of GPS navigation. The other thing is you should probably look at having a compass. And I would go with a very nice compass. There's a lot of cheap plastic ones out there. This is an actual military version that is pretty robust and has a lot of the features that you're going to be wanting on a compass. And I'm getting smoked out here. So let me reset the camera up so I can actually show what this compass looks like, so you can see how it all functions for this. So I'll reset the camera up and we'll take another look at this. So this is the compass that I carry. It's got obviously the 1/50,000 scale and a sighting wire feature and just a basic compass. The main problem is a lot of people have a compass and they go, okay, yeah, cool, I've got a compass. I know where north is. there's a lot of functions that a compass can do that you need to learn how to use. And so let's just give a basic scenario here. So we see that north is this direction over here. So we're focusing this way. So let's say we wanted to be on a course that's 120 degrees. So what you would do in turn to get that lined up is you would think, okay, well, you just look 120 degrees. Well, actually what you do is you orientate your body, and there's a line right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a line right here. So you'll face that way until that line is at 120 degrees. Then this other marker, you'll spin that back around until it lines up with the north. So when doing that, that means that you can take this compass out, you're walking your way, you got your direction, you're walking off this direction, right? Take this back out, and if you look down at your compass and your lines are not lined up, you know that you're back off course. So you just reorient yourself and you start back on course with that direction, and you just keep walking that way, and you just check this every once in a while. I mean, keep it out, wrap it around. You just got to land you so it can go around your neck if you need to. The other thing that you can do with this is you can use, if you have a mark that if you have an item that you're needing to look at, you can use this to sight that. Then when you look through this, you'll see what heading you need to be doing, and then you do the same method of marking that heading with your line, and then you move your dial until it matches your north. So it's takes a little bit of learning to do. Lots of good channels out there that give a pretty good in-depth description on how to do that, and probably even better than I am. But that's the basic function of this compass, and how you would go about using this item. And it's critical to have, because you don't know your direction. You're not in a good position there. So we have our compass. We know where we're going to be heading. How far do you walk? How do you know how far you walked? There's lots of methods to doing this. I'm going to show you the one that's pretty much the most probably well-known or simplest way of doing that. And that would be what they call ranger beads or pace beads. So, in fact, let me get my little booklet out, because in order to use pace beads, you need to know, one, what is your pace? This is something that anybody can go out and do, and it's smart to do, in my opinion. Get you a waterproof waterproof notepad. This is one of the ones you can write in the rain on. These are pretty cheap, and they're really good to have, and they're handy. So what I have for me is I have notes on here from my work location, what is my heading to get to my house. I have that known because I looked at it on a map and I plotted it out, and I wrote that on here so I don't have to remember what that heading is. I also have how many miles from work I am, converted in miles and kilometers. And the reason being is because I'm going to use pace beads for 100 meters, which turn into kilometers, and so on and so forth. So what you need to do is you need to get your pack on, and you need to get a set distance, 100 meters, which is roughly 328 feet. You need to get that set up, and you need to take your pack, and you need to count walking that off. Now, a pace is 2 steps, right? So your left foot, right foot, that's 1. Left foot, right foot, that's 2. My pace for 100 meters with my pack on. Now, you do this in different methods because, there's flat ground and different terrain and things like that. So you just generally take an average, and I would say depending upon what you're doing, plus or minus 5 to 6 paces on each side of that for your 100 meters, depending on what the terrain is you're in. Get this smoke out of here. One of the so once you know what your pace is, so mine is, like I said, 54 paces per 100 meters. So then you will take out an item, and I snap mine onto my jacket here. You will take out what is known as ranger beads or pace beads. So there are 4 up top and 9 on the bottom. This is just a simple one. They make all kinds of intricate ones. You can make them really pretty, all kinds of things. I have these on the ends so that I can snap them onto things, put them on my bag, whatever you want to do. You're gonna be basically carrying this as you're going, because you're not gonna want it hanging off the back of your bag when you're doing your pacing. So every 100 meters, you pull a bead either direction, whichever way you start. So 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, 400 meters, 500 meters, 600, 700, 800, 900. And then when you get ready to go to your 10th, you pull these back up and you move one of these down. Now you've walked 1 kilometer. So as you just keep doing that, right, as you're just counting in your head and you're doing your pace, this gives you a good idea. If you have some sort of map or you know a distance that you have to walk to get to a location, and say you got to stop for the night, you know about how far you have to go left, or you know how far you traveled that day. You're going to want to, know this, because you need to be able to kind of figure out what your pace is and when do you think you're going to be able to get to that location. This is also really good for laying out your own map. So what you can do is you can take your compass and your heading, and say you walk 100 meters at 120 degrees bearing, and then you take a right and you go another 200 meters at 180 degrees bearing. You can actually write that all down in your notebook. Walked 100 meters at 120. Walked 200 meters at 180. And when you get back to you sit down at say you're like on your 5th or 6th bearings there, right? You can sit down and you can actually draw that out with your compass, lay it on the ground, and take you an item and call that 100 meters or whatever you want to call it, right? And use that as your distance to show how far you walked. Draw you a line. Now go to that next spot. Go to your compass and draw another line. Your next distance that you've walked. And when you get to the end of an area, you'll be able to actually take your compass, set it on the last one, and point toward where you started. And that will tell you the bearing you're going to go, that direction. Then you can take your booklet, or whatever you called 100 meters, and you can start counting that off, and you'll actually know the distance you need to walk and the direction you need to walk to get back to exactly where you started. It's not going to be extremely accurate, but you're talking about a pretty good technique on being able to walk through the woods and not get lost, even without a map. So, like I said, get your all-weather book, take notes, know your pace, write it down, know how far it is for you to walk from a location such as your work back to your house, so that you have that, and write down your bearings, so you don't have to remember that or have a map. Just in case you don't have a map and all you have is a compass, you know where you're headed. So these are pretty, like I said, these ranger beads are pretty common, really easy to make. Anybody can make them. You get some paracord and some beads and put them together. They even have ways of making these all paracord. You can do little paracord knots on here. So these are the critical items, in my opinion, on traveling with a compass or GPS or any item like that. I would say get out and practice this. You can actually go out in the woods, bring you some paracord, and do some of these tasks. And you know, I may be even able to try and demonstrate one here momentarily with the walking certain directions and not knowing where I'm going on my yard and being able to come right back to this area. So I mean, that's something that we can give a go and see what that turns out to be like. So actually, let me go ahead and set that up, and I might just end up figuring out where I'm going. Okay, so let's take the compass out. Let's get an idea of which way I'm going to walk. I'm just going to walk down this trail for now. And so the trail is about 95 degrees. So basically almost dead east. I'm going to walk that direction, set my compass, and I'm going to walk, let me write down in my book, we're going to write down 95 degrees, and we're going to walk, we'll just walk and then we'll write it down when we're done. So let's get to walking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. So let's call it 52 right here. So we're going to write that down in the book. We walked at 95 degrees, 52 paces. Okay, so now we're going to walk. Let's see which direction we're going to walk now. We're going to walk 180 degrees off through the woods. And then we will see where that gets us. Write that down. 180 degrees. Okay. Put this away and get to walking. 1, 2, 6, 7, 9, 40, 41. All right. We'll call that 41 steps, 41 paces. Get my handy dandy notebook out. 41 paces. Okay. Now we're going to head which direction now? All right. We are going to head 280. It's going to be our bearing. So we will get that written down. 280. And we will start walking that direction. So let's get to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 55, 56. So roughly 56 paces. Okay, so let's figure out where I am and where I need to walk to in order to get back to where I started. And I'm going to lay it out on the ground, and then we will walk that direction and see where we end up. All right, so what we will do is we will mark, which I'm not sure how well you're all going to see this with all the damn leaves everywhere, but we will mark our distance on the ground from where we started with this stick. So, we know that we had a heading of 90 on that first walk. So we will set this down, line our line up with that. And in fact, I'm just going to use the compass length as my paces, and I basically walked almost 100 meters on that first one anyways at that 50 something paces. So we walked 90 degrees 100 meters. So now I'm going to put down another stick right here. And then I know my next walk that I did was, let's pull this back out. I can't remember everything off the top of my head. We walked 180 degrees, almost another 100 meters. So let's put this down. 180. Let's see if we got that right lined up there. $180 degrees, almost, so we'll actually cut it a little bit short. So we will stick this one in a little bit short. And then we know that we walked a little further than 100 meters at 280 degrees. So let's put this back down, get it marked at 280 degrees. All right, it's better if you do this with string, makes it a lot easier. So 280, we know we walked a little bit further. Oh, come on now. So now I've got starting point, second point, third, fourth, where I'm at right now. Now, in order to see where I need to head, what I can do is I can just line these two up, and it looks like it's about 350 degrees that direction, and it's almost 100 meters through the woods that way. So we will put this up, and from here we will walk straight through those woods and hope we land close to where we were, and we will see how accurate that is. So let's get to walking. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on because I'm walking straight through here, and that was where I came from, and I'm about halfway through my count. So let's go start counting with I was about at 27, so 28, 29, 30, 31. And I got zigzag every once in a while, so 32, 3, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Been getting stuck in the trees. Oh, okay, well, I'm a little bit off on the direction. So came out through there, and there's my little fire. So I was about, it was a rough estimate anyways with all my guessing. We were actually a little bit shorter distance than the 100 meters. And through all my looking at the compass, off a little bit on the angle as well. So, but that gives you a general idea of how that works when using a compass, and what that can do for you on getting to your area without a map. It works pretty well. Like I said, you can search it online. There's a lot of other good people out there that have put pretty good videos out that can go over that maybe in further detail than I can. And that's where, like I said, the pacing beads would come into handy as well, because if you're doing this over a larger area, a kilometer, your square is just, it's the same concept. Your square just gets bigger, your square or your whatever shape really just gets bigger. And your need to be accurate on your measurements gets greater too, though. Just doing this on my back property, it's not as crazy, because you can see I was off by 10-15 yards. But that is that's not so bad. But you'd really want to be much more accurate. And then bobbing and weaving through the trees, you need to definitely take a look at your compass and make sure you're still walking on your heading at all times. So other than that, I don't know if I can cover anything else. That's about all I probably need to cover on this part of this anyways. This is something you can get out in the woods on just hiking and practice these with pace beads or with a compass and get some kind of skills on that. The next thing would be is to start sitting down with a map and start playing around with learning how to plot courses on a map. And then there's also the benefit of, if you're out in a big area and you can take a map and look with your compass and start triangulating items on a map. That's a little bit more heavier skilled, but that is something that you can definitely learn to do, and there's probably ways to practice that online pretty effectively. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, or if I didn't go over something in detail enough, or I don't know, I'm completely wrong on something, let me know, because this is just basically the way I look at and how I interpret things, and I could absolutely be saying something that is incorrect, that may need to be corrected by somebody that knows more than I do. But like I said, get out there and practice, and try and learn everything you possibly can. And hope you all have a good day, and hope you had a good Christmas. I don't know what time this video will air or be posted, but hope you had a good Christmas or a great New Year, or are going to have a great New Year. So have a good day, and enjoy yourselves. Be good.